This is Trevor Gatz's 25 breaststroke from the underwater camera angle. This is Coach Connor commentating, and we will be viewing this video at 1/4 of the speed that it was originally recorded at for video analysis purposes. Let's begin. Okay, so Trevor, again, as we push off the wall, I want you to take note of your body position, okay, how it's angled down towards the bottom. The biggest thing we're going to talk about here on the push-off is how we want to have a parallel body position leading all the way up to the surface. Okay, so from the moment we leave the wall, we want the hands aiming for the other end. Okay, so we keep that direction moving straight off of it. Top of that, as I mentioned in the above water camera view, our streamline needs to be extremely tight, hand over hand. Okay, no gaps between both of your arms and your ears. Okay, closing everything out in front so we have the least amount of resistance possible as we leave the wall, because that is our fastest point of the length. A nice big dolphin kick right there. I like that. Now instead of going right into the pull out after the dolphin kick, what we can do is just ride that glide just a little bit after the dolphin kick. Okay, we want to be a little bit more patient with the pull out. Okay, and as I bring it up, I'm just going to bring it up to half speed just so you can see how quickly, okay, you take that first initial pull after the dolphin kick. Okay, as you can see there, it's very, very quick, and we're not riding any sort of momentum from that dolphin kick. We want to take about 1 to 2 seconds after that dolphin kick before we start our initial pull. Okay, and here we are at the first initial pull of the pull out. Okay, and you can see how wide our hands, okay, are from one another. What we want to do is we want to be able to tighten it up to where the hands, again, as I mentioned in the above water video, just underneath the chest. Okay, right here pulling down towards the hips. So we're kind of keeping it more inside. The elbows can be out, but the hands need to be in more towards the chest. Okay, so we're still creating that surface area through the elbows, but we're creating the optimal power by keeping it close into our body. So you sweep it down. I like that a lot. After we sweep it down, we want to make sure we're sweeping kind of down towards our hips, but again, because our body was already angled, okay, towards the bottom, what we ended up doing is we kind of kept going towards the bottom rather than going forward. So if we have our body angled parallel towards the wall in front of us, okay, as opposed to aiming towards the bottom, after you do that first initial pull through, you're going to continue excelling forward to the wall rather than excelling downwards towards the bottom. Or in this case, it'd be de-accelerating, so slowing down, because you're forcing yourself into more resistance through the pull going down towards the bottom. Okay, and again, as I mentioned, I'm just going to keep repeating certain things that we saw in the first video. The hands, we want the hands to kind of be sneaking up the side, so you almost want the hands to cross under each other as you make your way to the top, so keeping them inside the body as much as possible as we bring them out in front, rather than sweeping them underneath the body, running into more resistance through the water. Okay, and because of that, as you notice, what you did correct there was that you did hold that streamline. Okay, you held that position until you got to the surface. But look at where we're at as we complete that last pull. Okay, we have to float up. Now, if we start in this position when we leave the wall, right here, if we're in this position right away when we leave the wall, as we begin our pull out, rather than being here when you finish your pull out, you're going to be up towards the surface, going right into that first stroke, as opposed to having to wait, okay, in that 11 o'clock position, okay, to get to the surface. So we want to be able to get into that 11 o'clock position, or position 4 as we like to call it with that kick drill, to where we get right to the surface and we're able to begin that first pull. Okay, the big thing I'm going to talk to you about on this clip is our head position as we enter the water and then as we complete the pull. Okay, so we're going to slow it down to a quarter of the speed. Okay, so take note here, your head is down as the hands enter initially, okay, and they're extending forward. But as they extend forward, you're going to see your head lift up. You're looking towards the surface, okay, and with that, your hips drop. So let's bring it back. Again, when you first enter, I want you to watch when you first enter. Okay, you can see your hips are towards the surface. Your hands are shooting down also. We'll talk about that in a bit. We want the hands to shoot towards the wall in front of us. But your hands are shooting out, down, hips are towards the surface. Okay, the hands are going down, the head's staying down, which is good, so we're still parallel. But the moment we start to lift the head, and although minimal, okay, you'll see your hips drop as well. Okay, and because our hips drop, we can feel that. Okay, so what we do to compensate for that, and this explains a lot here, is that you're widening the pull because you can feel your hips sinking so that you can bring your hips all the way back up to the surface. Okay, so you get your hips back up to the surface. Okay, you're finally back in the good body position, and then the hands are shooting down again as we go into that kick. Okay, now we're back to parallel with the surface of the water, but again the head lifts, and again minimal, but enough to take you down to where you have to compensate with the wide pull. Alright, so the big thing here is if we can fix that head position, okay, the head position is where everything starts in swimming. If we can fix that head position, it's going to make everything else more efficient, okay, and therefore faster. Okay, it's going to help, if we keep the head down, it's going to help keep the hips up. If the hips are up, then it's going to help us be able to take a smaller but still more powerful pull, which then allows us to get our hands out quicker, which then allows us to initiate that kick sooner. So everything is going to speed up a little bit more, but it's still going to be just as efficient. So really, you're going to be taking faster, stronger strokes, and you're going to be able to go, it's going to be much more efficient and a lot easier on your body. You're going to be exerting a lot less energy in the long run. And these are minor adjustments that can be made quickly in order to improve your breaststroke. Okay, to get to where you're at, most kids take a while to have an efficient breaststroke as you already have. So just making these minor adjustments is going to make you that much better. And I'm just going to bring it back just so you can watch a couple strokes and kind of see where you're at. Head lift, hips down, wide pull. Okay, hands shoot down. Let's watch a couple more and then I'll explain why we want the hands to shoot forward as opposed to down. Okay. So we're bringing it back now. Speed it up a little bit. Okay. Well, let's watch the next stroke as well. Your hands go down. Okay. And this has to do, again, with the head position. Because our head position lifts at this point right here, again, the hips drop, so we widen the pull out. Okay, we widen the pull. As we're coming up, we have to lift the head a little bit. The head stays down. You do a good job of keeping the head down. But what I mean by lifting the head is that we're having to press the head up towards the ceiling, okay, to make sure we're getting that breath, okay, as we're bringing the hips up. And then with that, our hands they always kind of get caught underwater. Our goal here is if we can tighten up that pull, we're going to be able to get those hands towards the surface, a lot easier, okay? And the hands are going to be pushing through the top of the water. We almost want we want our pinkies to kind of graze the top of the water, or the, the very, or our index finger being the only finger out of the water. Okay, so if we learn to do that, if we learn to get those hands up towards the surface and shoot them forward, it's going to make that brushstroke a lot more efficient. But again, that starts with the head position getting fixed. Okay, so your big goal for the next few weeks, as we do brushstroke in practice, or any stroke for that matter, is to really focus on your head position, because it is amazing how the head position is where the stroke begins. If we fix that head position, the hips stay high on top of the water. We can tighten up that pull a little bit to make it more efficient, more powerful. Therefore, our hands, as we come through and finish that pull, are going to cut through the surface of the water as opposed to run into the water. Okay, Trevor, that about wraps up the underwater video. Um, just remember, if we can fix that head position, we can really utilize that strong kick of yours. Please feel free to ask me any questions at practice. Hopefully, I'll be able to see you at the next one that we have, and we can go over it then. Alright, buddy. Thanks for watching.